Remember that song with the weird lyrics about a cake left out in the rain? Or how about the 17-minute rock epic with the drum solo that changed music forever? 1968 was packed with musical one-hit wonders that briefly lit up the charts before fading into obscurity. In today's video, we're bringing back 10 forgotten gems from 1968 that were absolutely massive at the time, but have somehow slipped through the cracks of music history. Trust me, once you hear these songs again, you'll wonder how you ever forgot them in the first place. Before we move on, I'd like to ask you a small favor. If you appreciate this content, please take a second to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Over 98% of you watch the videos without subscribing. It costs you nothing, but it makes a huge difference to us. So, did you click the subscribe button? Great, thank you so much. Now, back to the video. Number 1, Judy in Disguise, With Glasses, by John Fred and his Playboy band. Let's take a trip back to January 1968, when a Louisiana band with a mischievous sense of humor managed to dethrone the Beatles themselves. John Fred and his Playboy band created Judy in Disguise, With Glasses, after mishearing the lyrics to Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds while on tour. What started as a playful joke became something much bigger. The song's catchy hook about a mysterious glasses-wearing girl captured America's imagination during a time when youth culture was obsessed with hidden identities and disguises. Their upbeat brass section and driving rhythm subtly poked fun at psychedelic music while being incredibly danceable. The real shock came when this novelty track knocked Hello Goodbye off the #1 spot on Billboard's Hot 100. This wasn't just a fun parody. It was the sound of American musicians reclaiming the charts from the British invasion that had dominated since 1964. Number 2, Fire by the Crazy World of Arthur Brown. Just as Americans were celebrating their musical victory, a fiery British counterattack was brewing. In the summer of 1968, American television viewers witnessed something truly unprecedented. A wild-eyed Englishman with actual flames shooting from his metal helmet, proclaiming himself the god of hellfire with operatic intensity. Arthur Brown didn't just perform his hit Fire, he embodied it. At a time when America was wrestling with questions about religion and authority, here was a British madman seeming to mock both, while reaching number 2 on the Billboard charts. The song's pounding organ, provided by Vincent Crane, created a sonic inferno that matched Brown's theatrical presence. What made Brown's performance so shocking wasn't just the visual spectacle of his flaming headgear. His song arrived when actual fires were consuming American cities during riots and protests, transforming real-world chaos into theatrical entertainment that both disturbed and fascinated audiences. Number 3, Reach Out of the Darkness by Friend and Lover. From the ashes of Brown's theatrical inferno emerged a counterbalance. A song so earnestly optimistic it seemed like a musical olive branch in a fractured America. The husband-wife duo known as Friend and Lover didn't just perform peace and love, they lived it. Jim and Kathy Post created Reach Out of the Darkness in late 1967, but it would be 1968 when their gentle invitation to unity reached number 10 on the Billboard charts. That now famous line, "I think it's so groovy now that people are finally getting together," wasn't just typical 60s language. It was a radical statement of hope as cities erupted in violence and the nation split along generational and political lines. The production team behind this flower power anthem brought serious musical credentials. Bill Lowry and Joe South handled production, while Ray Stevens contributed keyboard skills, blending folk purity with pop sensibility. This created a sound that spoke to both mainstream listeners and counterculture devotees. Number 4, Grazing in the Grass by Hugh Masekela. While married couples were harmonizing about togetherness, another revolutionary sound was crossing oceans and cultures. In 1968, Hugh Masekela's trumpet soared to the top of American charts with an infectious instrumental that needed no words to make its statement. This wasn't just any jazz musician finding mainstream success. Masekela had fled South Africa's brutal apartheid regime, bringing with him both musical genius and lived experience of oppression that resonated deeply during America's civil rights struggles. His journey from political exile to pop culture phenomenon represents one of music's most remarkable boundary crossings. Grazing in the Grass began as a humble inspiration from a Zambian recording called Mr. Bull No. 4, before Masekela transformed it at Los Angeles' legendary Gold Star Studios. The result? A revolutionary blend featuring that unforgettable cowbell rhythm and Masekela's expressive trumpet that defied categorization. It wasn't just jazz, pop, or African music, but something entirely of. Number 5. Classical Gas by Mason Williams. Revolutionary sounds weren't limited to jazz fusion in 1968. Behind the scenes at the Smothers Brothers Comedy Hour, a comedy variety show known for pushing boundaries with political satire, classical guitarist Mason Williams was crafting something extraordinary. What makes Classical Gas so fascinating is the unlikely pairing of Williams' serious musical ambitions with his day job writing comedy. This duality sparked a creative approach that challenged the very notion of what popular music could be. His classical guitar techniques merged seamlessly with contemporary pop arrangements, creating a sophisticated instrumental that defied categorization. The recording sessions brought together the legendary Wrecking Crew, those Los Angeles session wizards who shaped countless hits. Hal Blaine's drums, Carol Kaye's bass, and Larry Knechtel's piano contributions elevated Williams' composition beyond a mere novelty track into something revolutionary. Number 6. Angel of the Morning by Merrillee Rush and the Turnabouts. Not all revolutionary music in 1968 came from complex instrumentals. Sometimes the most daring statements were hidden in beautiful melodies with provocative lyrics. When Merrillee Rush recorded Angel of the Morning, she wasn't just singing a pretty tune. She was breaking taboos about female sexuality at a time when women weren't supposed to acknowledge such desires, let alone celebrate them. The song's narrative follows a woman embracing a fleeting romantic encounter without shame or regret. Revolutionary territory in an era when unmarried TV couples still slept in separate beds. What made this particularly powerful was Rush's emotional delivery, which managed to convey both vulnerability and strength simultaneously. While the lush string arrangements gave the song a traditional sound, its message was anything but conventional. As the women's liberation movement gained momentum, Angel of the Morning provided a subtle yet powerful musical expression of female autonomy. The song's emotionally nuanced portrayal helped reshape how women's experiences were represented in popular music. Number 7. Nobody But Me by the Human Beinz. While feminine expression found its voice through nuanced ballads, a group of young men from Youngstown, Ohio were crafting rebellion through sheer repetition. The Human Beinz transformed an obscure Isley Brothers track into a garage rock masterpiece that cracked Billboard's top 10 in early 1968. Their version of Nobody But Me wasn't just faster. It was a raw declaration of defiance, punctuated by that single word, no, repeated a staggering 68 times throughout the song. Even their name embodied the era's experimental spirit. By swapping beings for bands, they delivered a subtle nod to the psychedelic movement's love of unconventional expression. The band's relentless energy and the song's defiant repetition perfectly captured youth culture's growing rejection of established norms. Number 8. In-A-Gadda-Da-Vida by Iron Butterfly. From garage rock to acid rock, 1968 was rapidly reshaping musical possibilities. Iron Butterfly went further than anyone with their mind-bending masterpiece, born from an intoxicated mishap. When Doug Ingle attempted to explain In the Garden of Eden to his bandmates, his slurred speech transformed it into the psychedelic tongue twister that would define an era. What made this recording revolutionary wasn't just its title, but its unprecedented scope. While most bands squeezed songs into radio-friendly packages, Iron Butterfly boldly occupied an entire album side with a 17-minute sonic journey. At its heart stood Ron Bushy's groundbreaking 2.5-minute drum solo, elevating percussion from timekeeper to center stage and establishing a template future heavy metal drummers would follow for decades. Number 9. The Horse by Cliff Nobles and Company. While album-oriented rock was reshaping music consumption, another revolution was quietly happening on the B-sides of 45 RPM singles. In 1968, The Horse by Cliff Nobles and Co. galloped to number 2 on both Billboard charts. But here's the twist. Cliff Nobles himself didn't play or sing a single note on the track that made him famous. The Horse was actually just the instrumental backing track of Love Is All Right, with Nobles' vocals stripped away. Yet this B-side outsold its A-side companion, selling over 1 million copies in just 3 months and earning a gold record. The infectious horn section and tight driving rhythm created by those anonymous session musicians became the song's real stars. Number 10. MacArthur, Park, by Richard Harris. Just when you think the boundaries of mainstream music couldn't be pushed any further, along came an unlikely musical revolutionary in the form of a classically trained actor. Richard Harris, with absolutely zero singing experience, somehow ended up recording what might be 1968's most audacious chart success. His theatrical delivery of MacArthur Park brought a level of dramatic intensity rarely heard on AM radio. Jimmy Webb's composition broke every rule in the pop music playbook. The song's vivid imagery about a cake dissolving in the rain confused many listeners, yet they couldn't stop listening. It was poetic, strange, and oddly mesmerizing all at once, like stumbling upon someone's dream journal set to music.